All right, so first mock draft of the year, and I actually wasn't recording for some of the first picks, but I'll go over them. Last year, I had 8 picks correct out of 32, which was one better than Daniel Jeremiah top draft analysis for the NFL. Um, and I don't really know if I'm going to do that well this year because no one knows anything. Like, we knew Joe Burrow was going to go one to the Bengals. We knew the Dolphins, right? We're going to take a QB. We knew Chase Young was going to Washington last year. We knew Lawrence was going one. We knew Zach Wilson was going to the Jets. We knew the 49ers were going to take a quarterback. This year, no one knows who's even going to go number one overall. And someone got mad at me last year for saying this, but like, I'm not going to mock who I would go because that's not what's going to happen. I'm going to do what I think is going to happen um, Sunday right now, and I'll probably have one more mock draft come out Thursday before the draft. And then we'll start off here with the Jags. So I went Trayvon Walker. If it was Aidan Hutchinson right now, I think we would have known. Could still be. We'll find out maybe more as the week goes on. But Trent Baalke has a history of taking guys like Alden Smith, these athletic guys, over proven players like Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt. And the Jags. I mean, what can you say, right? For their last season, it blew up in their face or their lap, as Urban Meyer would say. But hopefully they can get an impact player at number one, a blue chip player. Aidan Hutchinson, 2, Michigan, staying in his state and can really help one of the worst pass rushes in the league last year. Ikem Ekwonu at 3, I would say is probably the best offensive lineman in the league, is what people think. As of right now, I have Evan Neal a little bit higher than him, but Evan Neal also is an incredible guard. Seeing what Quentin Nelson could do when the Colts took him really early, and Ikem Ekwonu, I would say probably first year in the Texans would play guard, considering Laramie Tunsil, and then Titus Howard is a pretty solid right tackle. But then if Tunsil leaves, they could kick Ekwonu back out to left tackle. Thibodeau at 4. I thought this was sauce. Been seeing that for a while, but after their latest visit with the Jets, and then also thinking about, right, you need to get to the quarterback, especially in the AFC with all these quarterbacks, and Carl Lawson coming back from injury, maybe he won't be healthy or the same player, and so that all of a sudden that goes from a really good, really solid edge group to a terrible one if you don't draft an edge high. So you get Kayvon Thibodeau at number 4. Giants, Charles Cross. I would go Evan Neal, but they like Charles Cross a lot. Many would say is the best pass protector in the draft. Grab him at number 5. Panthers, Kenny Pickett. It is early to take a quarterback. I would not do that, even though I like Kenny Pickett. Reckon actually repping his shirt jersey right now. But I think they would like to trade back and get some more picks because they don't pick after the first round to the 4th. But Matt Rule has to save his job, and if they can't trade back, I think they might take Kenny Pickett anyways at 6. 7, Giants. I'm going to go Ahmad Sauce Gardner. Really good corner out of Cincinnati. James Bradbury might be on the move as well. Falcons at 8. This is one where I think like Derek Stingley, you get him, and he's like, you can get him to what he used to be. He's just a beast. Just like one of the best freshman corners ever. And then you got A.J. Terrell on the other side, but I don't know if they're going to do that. They also did bring in Casey Hayward, so him and A.J. Terrell is solid cornerback 1 and 2. So I'm going to go Evan Neal, just the best player available. Seahawks at 9. They usually like to take their corners in the second round, but Stingley, I just don't think he gets out of the top 10 is what the consensus in the league is right now. Jets at 10. I think there's a shot Jamison Williams goes here. Drake London as well, Garrett Wilson. I'm actually going to go Jamison Williams. Yeah, I am going to go Jamison Williams. Would have been wide receiver 1 for sure if it weren't for the torn ACL. But his rehabbing quickly, and Zach Wilson is a great deep ball thrower, and now you have one of the best deep threats in the NFL. Washington at 11, the Commies. I would not go Kyle Hamilton here. You do have Cameron Curl and Bobby McCain, which are whatever. I just think a wide receiver, especially with Terry McLaurin, is he going to stay there for the future? Curtis Samuel's injury history. I think a wide receiver is more important, especially with having Carson Wentz needing weapons. But they do really like Kyle Hamilton, so that's what it seems like it will be. Vikings. So not having Stingley on board hurts. I think they'd love to take him. I think they'd like to trade down in this spot, but I'm not doing trades in this mock, so we're going to go Trent McDuffie. Really clean corner out of Washington. Could be one of the best slot corners in the NFL within his first couple of years. Texans at 3. Yeah, you see the needs, every position. So we took Ika Makwanu. At 3, I'm going to go Jermaine Johnson. For the Derek Stingley hype, I think he would have probably gone top 10. Um, Now he falls a little bit, but only falls to 13. I've seen some teams mocking him to the Vikings, but the way I look at it is the Vikings were second in the league with sacks last year, and then you add Zadarius Smith and Daniil Hunter, who's the fastest player ever to get to 50 sacks, comes back. I just don't know if that's as pressing as a need as corner. Ravens at 14. They love to take their big dudes, and I just think Jordan Davis, man, him and Calais Campbell. I know Calais Campbell isn't in the future, but they love drafting big dudes. Is kind of what it comes down to. Eagles first of their 2 picks at 15, and I am gonna go Drake London. Right, kind of building a basketball team in the wide receiver room. You got Devontae Smith, so now you got Drake London, 6'5" wide receiver who's just has great hands and can get those 50-50 balls, and probably is honestly more of a 50-50 chance when he's going up against any DB. Saints at 16. It's got to be wide receiver or tackle. But then you look at the Chargers, right? They need a tackle, and the Eagles just picked a receiver. So I think when you're looking at the process of elimination, kind of, I think you take Trevor Penning, and then I think you can feel good about being able to grab wide receiver at 19. Trevor Penning goes to the Saints. Hopefully can be a good replacement for Teron Armstead. And then the Chargers. So Chris Olave probably is rated higher than Treylon Burks. However, oh my gosh, Garrett Wilson's still here? Wow. Well, I guess he's fallen a little bit. Nah, I'm not gonna. Garrett Wilson's here. I don't think you can pass that up. Actually, yes. This is a tough one. But I am gonna go with kind of maybe the first surprise here, because you have Keenan Allen, who's a really good route runner, right? You have Mike Williams, so now you get Treylon Burks. Maybe it's like a 6'3" Deebo Samuel if you want to look at it like that. Eagles at 18. Devin Lloyd, playmaking linebacker, 6'3", fast on tape, really good player, and is going to be a leader in the middle of that defense. Saints now at 19. They love their Ohio State dudes, and to get Garrett Wilson here at 19 is an absolute steal. Steelers at 20. Has to be quarterback. Maybe they move up if Malik Willis keeps falling, but Malik Willis at Liberty. And hopefully this one's not a molester like Big Ben. Patriots at 21. I mean, this is a tough one because you look at the track record. They like to take corners in round 2. Devontae Parker move probably means you're not going wide receiver. Round 1. I think you look at the offensive line. I think they could definitely go there, and that's what I'm going to do. It's actually a bigger need than you think. They lost Ted Karras. They traded Shaq Mason away. Isaiah Wynn wasn't great last year, so you need help on that interior. And Zion Johnson can certainly do that. Green Bay, former Las Vegas pick but now the Devontae Adams trade. Green Bay has 2. That sounded stupid. But man, I'm so happy I do not have to mock for the Raiders because they always take like bad players, like just because they go to like Ohio State or Alabama. Last year they took Leatherwood, and like all my casual friends were like, "No, I think Leatherwood's better because he went higher." Leatherwood was awful, and then the year before that they took Henry Ruggs, speed kills baby, and Damon Arnett. When they took Damon Arnett, he had character and drug issues, and was a 3rd round grade, and people said, that I was like stupid when I said he wasn't that good. Well, here's the thing. He was awful when he was on the field, and now he's out of the NFL. So there you go. But yeah, long story short, Packers at 22. We are going to go Chris Olave. Need to get Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver, and I think that'd be a good pairing. Cardinals at 23, could be an edge rusher. You look at Karlaftis, could be offensive line, maybe a guy like Kenyon Green. But losing Chandler Jones, that's a pretty weak edge group. So you look at George Karlaftis, Arnold Ebiketie, I think would be the 2 in play here. And I'm going to go Arnold Ebiketie. I think he fits the 3-4 more than George Karlaftis does, and I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a really good player. Cowboys at 24. This is an easy one. He lost Connor Williams. That offensive line isn't getting any younger. We're going to go Kenyon Green. Starts right away at left guard. Bills, 25. I think it's one of the most complete rosters in the NFL, and right now they would be my pick to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC, if not win the Super Bowl. Breece Hall, 220-pound plus back, and he's an absolute stud and could be the final piece for that offense. Titans at 26. You lost Roger Saffold, drafted Dylan Radons last year, who can play either guard or tackle, but he's not listed at interior offensive line. But I think they go offensive line, and Tyler Smith, I think, what better, and this is just not loading, but here we go. Tyler Smith would be a great fit, just a nasty player who, he's just going to bully guys up front, and you look at Derrick Henry, he fits what they want to do. Hopefully he's not like Isaiah Wilson, though, who was that big offensive lineman from Georgia when they took him, and despite not being graded as highly, they wanted to grab him, and out of the league as well, as he got COVID twice, did drugs, jumped off a balcony, and drove over 100 miles an hour and crashed his car and then punched through the sky clear thing above your car and ran around the highway before being arrested by the police. So hopefully that doesn't happen with Tyler Smith. Bucks. I've been seeing some safety stuff with them, but with Devontae Wyatt on board, I think it's just too good to pass up. Pair him up next to Vita Vea, and Devontae Wyatt, I would say, is the best pass-rushing defensive tackle in the class. Packers at 28, George Karlaftis still on board. However, you lost Billy Turner, who's an underrated tackle, and they're really good at developing offensive linemen. So why not get a converted wide receiver tight end, Bernard Ryman, at tackle? Chiefs have 2 picks at the end here. They need edge, they need wide receiver, and they can maybe use like corner/safety. George Karlaftis is still on board, though, is definitely going to be one of my picks. And then you can pair him up with Frank Clark, and then Chris Jones can play on the inside full-time. They need to get better in the edge group defensively. And then wide receivers, you look at Jahan Dotson, Sky Moore. I think Jahan Dotson is just a little too good to pass up right now. And then all of a sudden your wide receiver group isn't that bad. You have Valdez-Scantling and Hardman as your 2 deep threats. Then you have Juju Smith as the underneath kind of guy. Jahan Dotson, as well as just a really good route runner with great hands, good speed as well. Bengals, I know they got Lyle Collins and Alex Kappa. They'll start at right guard and right tackle. Ted Karras is kind of a band-aid, especially with his age, but I think he can also play left guard, which he did last year for the Patriots. So you take Linderbaum, right? What they're going to do is they're going to replenish that offensive line through free agency and the draft. So they go Tyler Linderbaum at 31. Closing it out with the Lions at 32. I usually like to give them Devin Lloyd here, but he's not here, and apparently they really like their linebackers, so that wouldn't make a ton of sense. Apparently it's either a safety or maybe a corner, so Lewis Seen makes a lot of sense. Daxton Hill makes a lot of sense. However, I am going to go Matt Corral, quarterback out of Ole Miss. We saw Lamar Jackson go 32 overall, and maybe Matt Corral, this could be the same thing going at 32 overall, because you get that extra 5th-year option. He can sit behind Jared Goff for a year. I think it's a good fit. Desmond Ridder is a guy that could sneak in there as well in the first round. But I think Matt Corral is just a better quarterback. But Desmond Ridder, I don't know. But I think Matt Corral is the pick at 32 for the Lions. Just get that extra 5th-year option. Can sit behind Jared Goff for a year or 2. And I guess this just isn't going to load. PFF's trying to get me to pay. No, thank you. Hopefully this loads in a couple seconds here. But yeah, we'll probably have another one come out on Thursday before the draft. I won't be going to school the next day because I have to get an injection where my hip, where I'll basically be paralyzed for a day. So at least I'll be able to watch the draft. Here we go, finally. Here's my mock draft. Yeah, I mean, no one has any idea what's going to happen. I'm kind of like at lost at words sometimes because it's just kind of hard to say what you think's going to happen. But as of right now, this is my mock draft, and I'll have another one coming out on Thursday. And as you can see here, maybe a big board as well, my top 50 and my player rankings. I don't know how to edit videos, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and Tell me your draft stuff below. Peace.